Congratulations! You're in grad school. You made it through 4 long, awkward years of your bachelor degree where you grew as both a person and as a scholar. Now you can really focus on your coursework and your own intellectual pursuits in a leisurely manner. Wrong! By the time you reach graduate school, as a member of the academic community, you are expected to share your research, contribute to the knowledge of your field, and to publish for career advancement. Your assignments and thesis alone are not going to land you that coveted teaching position. What you do outside of your institution in many ways counts more for your advancement as a scholar than the work you do towards your degree. You've probably heard the term publish or perish, whispered in the hallways, cafes, and pubs frequented by your classmates and professors. It's a term that strikes fear in the hearts of many a graduate student and early career academic. But the publication component of your career doesn't need to cause you anxiety if you understand what scholarly publication is, how your research fits into the knowledge of your field, and what options you have for sharing your work and getting noticed as a new academic. Before I run through the publication cycle, let's do a quick review of what I mean by scholarly publishing. First off, don't panic. Publishing in a scholarly sense does not mean you need to start slaving away at writing a book in graduate school, shopping your manuscript around to publishers, and then going on a book tour. There are some academics whom of course take this route, but this type of publishing occurs much later in an academic career, if at all. This is commercial publishing, the model most of us are familiar with because it's the one we see portrayed in the media, in movies, on television, in the news, and so on. Traditional commercial publishing is changing with the internet, new distribution methods, and ebooks, but that's a topic for another tutorial. Publishing simply means to make something public. It is not necessarily tied to any one publishing format, such as a book. In academia, only through sharing ideas and research can scholars build on each other's contributions and dialogue with one another. By publishing, you are contributing to the documentation and ongoing progression of your field. Now, let's look at the scholarly publication cycle in depth, though it can be broken down into 6 easy steps. First, you start with an idea you want to explore or develop further. It might come from one of your course readings, a previous assignment, or even your thesis. Now that you have a kernel of an idea, you'll probably need help getting started. Talk about your idea informally with your colleagues. By colleagues, I not only mean your fellow students, but your professors, your advisor, other instructors in your department, program directors, and so forth. Academics share and support one another, and someone is very likely to be able to offer you advice to further your ideas along. Also, doing a literature review is highly recommended before embarking on any serious research project. A literature review is a complete and current account of what has been published on a topic by accredited scholars and researchers. It's an excellent starting point for researching a new area, since it forces you to summarize, evaluate, and compare original research in that specific area. In identifying areas of prior scholarship, a literature review ensures that you as a researcher do not duplicate work that has already been done. In graduate school, you are expected to do original research. It identifies inconsistencies, gaps, and contradictions in the literature that your work can address or resolve. A literature review can also provide clues as to where future research is heading or recommend areas on which to focus. Next, it's time for you to conduct your research. You can choose to adopt a prescribed research methodology, such as narrative, a historical study, ethnography, or a mixed methods approach, just to name a few. Depending on the nature of your research project, you may use primary sources for your research, such as archival materials, including diaries, letters, and newspaper articles written during the time period under investigation. If you are working with human subjects, you might be conducting your own interviews and surveys, as well as looking at data from other researchers. In the arts and humanities, you may even be studying physical objects such as buildings, clothing, furniture, tools, toys, and works of art directly. You may also use secondary sources such as biographies, books, and journal articles, engaging with the work of other researchers in summarizing, analyzing, and critiquing primary sources. The third step is to share your results in a preliminary way. Scholars share work that's not ready for publication to get feedback from their peers and get more exposure for their research. But you might be asking yourself, with whom should my preliminary results be reported to? The traditional venue is to share your results with colleagues at a conference. A conference, sometimes also referred to as a symposium, is a formal event where researchers present their research results in paper presentations, workshops, and posters. Work may be published online on a conference website or in print as conference proceedings. While work shared at conferences is considered in progress, your participation does count for your research dossier and contributing to the knowledge of your field. Many academics also use online informal communication tools to share their research and debate findings, such as email, blogs, and listservs. Social media platforms, especially Twitter, have also been adopted by academics to comment on news items and new findings quickly. Many universities are reviewing their tenure policies and questioning whether academic blogging should be credited toward a person's scholarly record. While this is a highly contested issue in academia right now, academic blogging is shaping up to be an important supplement to one's traditional research activities. It's probably a good idea as a grad student to maintain a website that includes a CV, summarizes your research results and activities, and comments on developments in your discipline. After you develop your ideas or test your results further, it's time to share your research results in a formalized final way. Writing a thesis or dissertation is a formal way of sharing your research with the greater academic community. A thesis or dissertation is a document submitted in support of candidature for an academic degree presenting the author's research and findings. As a master's student, you'll be writing a thesis, or if you are enrolled in a PhD program, a dissertation in order to obtain your degree. Your thesis or dissertation is judged as to whether or not it makes an original and unique contribution to scholarship. Original research is expected of you in graduate school. Theses and dissertations are considered gray literature since they are not officially published. They are searchable in academic library catalogs and increasingly accessible through online institutional repositories. Though they contribute to the knowledge of a subject or discipline, and your fellow scholars can use them in their own research and publications, their distribution and impact is not as far-reaching as books and journal articles. And while they are required to complete your degree, they do not count towards tenure. That being said, many scholars' first books are revised versions of their PhD dissertations. Another way to formally share your research, and the one that is the most common in academic circles, is to write a peer-reviewed journal article. Journal articles are the official scholarly record. They reflect on the significance of events or ideas or report on the latest research conducted by scholars or professionals in a specific field. They are edited and reviewed by other specialists in the field to catch both research and typographical errors, point out biases, and help you as an author improve your writing. Journals that utilize this specialized editing process are called peer-reviewed or refereed. Getting published in a prestigious scholarly journal may have the most direct bearing on building a reputation as a scholar, tenure, and advancement within your institution. The impact factor and ranking of the journals your work is accepted by for publication are measures many academic universities look at for hiring, promotion, and tenure. Increasingly, academic institutions are recognizing new models of publication, such as open access journals for advancement and tenure. Talk to your advisor or your subject librarian about how to match your research interests with potential journals and for recommendations about which journals to submit your work for consideration. Another formal publication route is to write a scholarly book chapter. The purpose of scholarly books is to share with other scholars the results of primary research and experiments in a particular field. They are published by university presses, such as Princeton University Press, a professional association, or known independent scholarly commercial publisher, such as Wiley-Blackwell or Springer. The editing process is usually far more extensive in comparison to that of commercial or trade publishers, as it involves multiple revisions, not just correcting style, but also content. Again, ask your subject librarian which publishers are considered the most authoritative for your field. You'll see the influence of your research and findings in your field when others begin to describe your work. Your fellow scholars and researchers, and other professionals in some cases, will comment, summarize, critique, compare, analyze, etc., your ideas and results, citing your work in professional and academic literature of your field, such as books, on professional organization websites, and in journal articles. This is how scholars and researchers dialogue in a formal manner with one another, while creating ever more knowledge. Academic institutions again look to what extent your work has penetrated the scholarship of your field. If some aspect of your ideas and research resonates with popular culture and trends in the media, you may also find it being reported on and written about on television and radio and in newspaper and magazine articles. If your ideas and results make a significant impact on your discipline, you may see your research mentioned in reference books, including encyclopedias, bibliographies, and handbooks. A reference work is a book or serial publication in print or increasingly in electronic format to which one can refer to quickly for confirmed facts on a specific topic. They convey the most relevant accumulated knowledge on that subject that is considered true and part of the historic record. Many are compiled by a team of contributors who are considered the top experts in their field. The work of these expert contributors is coordinated by one or more editors rather than by an individual author. As the entries go through an extensive editing process to check the veracity of the information presented, it is many years before new research appears in reference texts. So that's the scholarly publication cycle. Something that begins as an idea, theory, or research experiment is scribbled in your notebook, developed, then presented at a conference, and published as conference proceedings, then tested further and published in journals and books, eventually making its way into textbooks and/or encyclopedias. If you have any questions about scholarly publishing, please see your subject librarian or email us at library@kent.edu or come see us in person at the library.